Hi, today I wanted to cover 3 Sega CD homebrew projects that got lost to the passing of time and never really got time to shine. I've given each project a fresh lick of paint, in part to allow me to understand the code, but also to give those that have seen these demos before something new to look at. All of the projects are written in C code with some assembler behind the scenes to do some magic, and are available on GitHub. You'll find links to them in the description. The idea is that I'm hoping people like you that are watching this video will be inspired to download the code and try working with the projects for yourselves. So let's get going. I'm going to start by talking about 512 colour mode. There are a couple of ways to achieve 512 colours on the Mega Drive: Mega Colour, which I've spoken about in previous videos, and Fantom Bitmap, a method that I'll be talking about in this section. Way back in 2012, Fantom Bitmap was a hack developed by Org866 and Jorge. The method is achieved via a single precision times DMA write to the Mega Drive's background colour in colour RAM, while the auto-increment functionality on the destination address is disabled. This is something highly unusual, but the method enables colours to be streamed pixel by pixel to the screen. It has a lot in common with John T's method, but unlike his, it doesn't work on a per-line basis and require manual tuning. There are a few drawbacks to using Fantom Bitmap. A degree of resolution is lost, and each pixel is around twice its normal width, with H40 mode offering a visible area of 160 by 224. A small amount of hardware lag is present during the refresh cycle, which causes some of the writes to the colour memory to be stalled, which results in pixels being doubled in some lines. The Mega Drive CPU is stalled and its sound processor is unable to access the CPU's memory during the DMA period. Sprites and scroll planes are disabled in this mode. Vertical scrolling is available if you have the memory, but horizontal scrolling cannot be used due to the way in which the method works. Overall, the limitations make a fast-paced game via the Mega Drive difficult, but the mode can be used to produce visual novels and Myst-style games. I've managed to source an example from around the time by ComradeOJ. The images chosen in the demo don't work to the mode's strengths, but do give you an example of the type of game that could be produced. Joseph took a different approach to using Fantom Bitmap. He figured that the Sega CD with its faster CPU, not hindered by DMA, would be ideally placed to use the method. The CD's 256 kilobytes of word RAM would act as a double frame buffer, and its medium would allow lots of 512 colour resources. The viewer uses Joseph's own custom 9-bit direct colour image format known as DCI3. A converter by Sega 16 is provided in the source code. The converter takes PNGs and converts them to DCI3, as 9-bit direct colour isn't something that most image editors support. Next up we have Joseph's mod player. This is based on the Amiga 500 player, AMI Play mod. Joseph's port uses 1M mode, in which the Sega Mega CD's word RAM is split into 2 banks of 128 kilobytes. For a mod to be played by the system, all instruments must fit into the Mega CD's 64 kilobytes of PCM RAM. If an instrument doesn't fit, it is scaled back. The player identifies the largest instrument in the mod. The instrument is halved in size, causing it to play an octave higher. This is corrected by the bass note value being adjusted to play at the correct pitch. This is repeated until all instruments fit into PCM RAM. The result of this process is generally that the larger instruments sound worse as a result of the severe scaling. In the case of the Sega Mega CD mod player, it is best to find mods with smaller instruments, or at least those that won't need to be scaled much. Lastly, we're going to look at Joseph's Raycast demo that uses both Fantom Bitmap and the mod player. It's based off a Raycast Engine by Jeremy Burns and was entirely written in C. The source code shows you how to set up the video, play a mod file and run a Raycast level. The demo is not optimised, but there are some assembly functions for fixed point multiplication. It also uses an approximation of distance rather than a square root. If the renderer was switched to assembler, it may be possible to render floors and ceilings. Texture-wise, the engine presently supports as many textures as you can fit into program RAM, as presently the demo embeds textures into the binary. A more effective game would load the textures needed for a level from the CD. The engine uses 64 by 64 textures that clock in at around 8 kilobytes, so if a level was comprised of 25 textures, then it would require 200 kilobytes of word RAM. To add enemies to the demo, the number of textures used would need to be minimal. The demo could also be made to support smaller textures such as 8x8 and 16x16, which would help with RAM usage. Joseph says the Sega Mega CD can do a lot more with this mode, and he was hoping that the demo would inspire others to do homebrew for the system. Fingers crossed this video helps him in that quest. And sadly, that ends our look at Sega Mega CD Homebrew that you might not have been aware of. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen. Don't forget to check out the GitHub links in the description. A huge thank you to Chili Willy, Orgate166, Vic and Barone for their help in bringing these resources together. And finally, a huge thank you to my patrons, DI and Retro RGB for their support. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!